Thank you. Hello everybody, my name is Craig Bennett and I'm the founder and owner of Tech Reviews Nope, and today I am reviewing a wooden case for the Surface Book. The wooden case is made by a company called Toast. Now as far as this goes, there is quite a bit of options that you have with this. You can get it down to $70 coming out the door, but it's only going to be the top area and a few others. The more stuff you add, the more it's going to cost. So that's a big thing you got to keep in mind, and the price does go up quite a bit, because the one thing you got to keep in mind is this is actual wood. This is real wood, and there's advantages and disadvantages to using real wood, but it looks great. Now one thing I want to tell you is I did get this for a discount, but I'm going to keep the price in mind, and I have the full bundle as you may see right now. But why did I really push for a wood case over a rubber case, or maybe even a sticker? The difference between a sticker and, let's just say, a rubber case is a sticker doesn't protect from anything besides scratches. There's no way a sticker is going to protect against any falls, any dents, anything like that, anything impactful. With rubber, it has a chance of protecting against dents and stuff, but if you're using rubber cases on phones or normal sized tablets, that's 100% fine. In fact, I would say that's a better option to go if you are using it on phones with rubber. However, once you get into laptops or bigger devices, if you have a background in physics, you probably will be agreeing with me. Obviously, there's plus and minuses to this stuff, but in case you don't have a background in physics, didn't take a physics class in college, well, I'm just going to tell you, when the size of it increases so much and you're dealing with rubber cases that are very thin, especially around where the back screens is, and if you notice with any rubber cases, the thickness of it is the edges. Well, majority of the surface area is not the edge on something like a laptop. Therefore, if you do have a dent, the rubber's not going to protect it as much, because there's not going to be enough to stop the energy from pinpointing into the metal. So that's where the actual wood would take place, is it protects from dents more than rubber. Obviously both protect from scratches, because you got to actually touch the metal for that to happen. But I feel, based on actual laws of physics, that wood is better in that aspect. But keep in mind the price too, that this is a luxury item. So I asked Reddit on if they have any questions at all on this product, because I figured that this is a higher end luxury product and a lot of people would be interested in this, but I'd be a little worried to take the dive and have something go wrong. So why not have them ask questions? And some of the questions I got is surprisingly very good, and I would never thought of myself. It's something I'll actually keep in mind in future things. So one of the questions that does come up over and over and over is this product reusable? The answer to this is kind of, it's not really reusable. The company, it says it's not at all, but the product, you can remove it. How you apply it is basically you have a panel, the wood panel. It will have a sticker on one side with adhesive in between. You just take off the plastic, whatever, and then stick the panel on the surface. It's kind of like putting a screen protector on. Well, you can reuse it theoretically, but realistically, the things I can tell you, it's not made for be reused. The adhesive, it looks like the type that once you set it in, it's meant to actually harden in and to really set in place. Now you can take it off, and they do have methods where you can take it off fairly easy. However, it will require like a hair dryer or something like that to loosen things up. And I'll get a little bit more into this in the videos pointing things out. But the next question is what is it made from? And the answer to this is pure wood. So there is a few different type of woods that you can choose from. And I chose walnuts mostly because of color. And some people might say, well, you should go for ash because it's a harder wood. And one thing I'll point out is because it's so thin, it's just a strip. Yeah, technically you should go with ash if you want a harder wood, but realistically, it's so thin, I don't think that matters that much at all. I think just how wood structure is, that's where the thing that I was talking about before, physics, that part matters. But because it's so thin, it probably doesn't matter that much about ash between it. And one thing I will tell you is, unfortunately, they do not have mahogany, which is what I'll be going for. So the closest thing I can get is that walnut. Now, the next question is warranty. So, as you see here, it's basically a return and exchange policy. They may change this in the future. I'm just going to have a link to the actual product in the description down below. You can go to the About page, hover over it, and go to the shipping and return policy. And they will have this here. Basically, like any screen protector, any sticker, anything like that, there is no warranty. I'm sure that if, say for the thing, faded or did something weird in a short amount of time, yeah, you probably get a replacement pretty easily. But because I mean, this company is pretty reasonable, and they do get back to you when they're there. I'm gonna get a little bit more into this, but as far as the return policy is basically, if it comes in broken, then you can send it back. And the reason for that is the same thing with screen protectors and stuff like that, is if you decide to play frisbee with your stuff, there's no real way they would know, so they have to just say that no type of thing across the board. And that's simply how it is. Now, obviously, you know, again, if you have fading or some other issues, then you got that. So the next question is it easy to put on? And the answer to this is kind of. I'll get a little bit more into this, but basically, it's like I said before, you have wood panels, wood strips, you have adhesive. It's kind of like a screen protector. You have the adhesive, and you got the plastic sticker thing. You unpeel that, you place it where you need, and you're good to go. You obviously need to rub the area off with rubbing alcohol, and make sure that you use lint-free cloths if possible. And if you can, and this is actually pretty important, if you can, you need to wear some nylon gloves or some gloves that is either lint-free or it's medical or throwawayable, something that you didn't use for anything else, because the oils on your skin can mess with the adhesives of anything. It doesn't matter if it's this or something else, it can mess with the adhesives negatively. It's why painting and stuff like that, they don't like you to touch the raw surface, and they like to clean the side of cars and stuff like that before they paint, because otherwise the paint comes off. Same thing with this. The adhesive doesn't bond properly if the oils in your skin is messing up this stuff, and that's a natural thing. Look it up. So one of the best questions I came across that I would never thought of is talking about the heat. Now, what the person was asking for is something I can't do. At least if I knew that they would want it, I could do it then, but it's too late. That case is already on there. They're talking about the heat, and does this really affect with the heat at all? And the reason why this is important is because The Surface Book, like many things are coming out now, and I think this is going to become more and more of a question in the future, is it's a very compact system where all your processing and stuff is really in the monitor area, like a tablet. And with this, you could theoretically run into some type of heat problem with the insulation that would act as an insulator. The thing with this, the case, I'll say that's not a problem. As you've seen in my past videos and seeing the pictures and stuff in this video, I do not have a problem with the heat, at least in the Surface Book, but I have charts on the laptop at any given time, and those are actual charts, the heat sensors and CPU and stuff like that. And the only time beforehand that I felt like the heat was going up is when I'm doing something like Fallout or something that's intensive like that you'll expect that to happen. And even afterwards, I've done a little bit of that, and I can tell you there's almost no difference at all. The heat's the same. I literally haven't seen any difference at all. This doesn't cover up the fans at all, so keep that in mind. But also keep in mind that I don't really have a heating problem on my Surface Book to begin with. I know some people, when they got theirs, they had one, so yeah, you might want to keep that one in mind, and you might want to think about that. But like I said, it's almost like putting up a couple pieces of paper, taping it to your computer, and saying you have a heating problem. If that's what you say that you got a heating problem from, you really need to start looking at what you're defining, and you got something else going on. So this, I'm saying, if you really are going to run into some heating problems because of this, it's either because you're sticking it in an environment that is really hot outside, like 120 or something like that outside, or you're running into what you'll run into. I've seen in desktops and stuff, in those type of environments where you can barely run computers, and that, or you got something else going on and you really do need to get it checked out. One thing they did mention, though, they were talking about dust and stuff, and anyone who's been around wood furniture and stuff will know wood does attract some dust. I don't think that that's going to be a problem with something like this, especially being it's mobile and stuff. Usually in those cases where furniture has that problem, it's because you're not using the furniture for a long period of time, like months, or not touching or rubbed against that part of furniture. Whereas like seats and stuff, you won't have that problem, but maybe countertops and some other things you would. So with this being as a laptop, I don't think you'll have that problem at all. And that's just my personal opinion. Obviously, that's something to keep in the back of your mind. But realistically, if you're going to have a problem with that, I don't care what type of case, or even if you have a case at all, you probably should look at why you're having a problem in the first place. Now, let's get into some of the negative things before we jump into the positive stuff into this. So one of the biggest negative things I could find with applying this, and keep in mind all things, there's a con to everything, but one of the biggest negative things is the manual is not that good. And I will simply be just showing you right now what the manual is. There is some stuff here and there you can pick up, but for the most part from Toast itself, what you get is a thing on the back of the package itself, the packaging itself, that says they got video tutorials. Well, this is it. It's how to remove a cover from the iPhone, how to put it on iPad, Nexus, or iPhone. None of their laptops. None of their other stuff. This is something that could be improved, and I wanted to emphasize a separation between the product itself and, well, the company or the situation, depending on however you look at this. But basically, the product itself that you get and you'll be using would be fine. I'll get more into the positive side in a second. But the not having a real good manual, parts list, or anything like that, it's just asking for trouble. Because I ran into a problem since there is no good manual on the packaging that comes with it, and there's no video on their site saying how to install this. I accidentally put the bottom cover on backwards. The only way you can tell if the bottom cover is if it's supposed to go towards the front or the back, depending on what side, is 2 corners. That's it. They're not dramatic difference from one to the other. It's 2 corners. That's it. That ticks me off, because it's basically saying that we are going to charge you $140. Really, the bottom plate, let's just get into the bottom cover itself. If you buy that alone, it's $30. We're going to charge you $30, and we want to spend 5 cents printing an arrow and putting front on a thing like you'll see on anything that does cost a lot of money. Stamping front. Now keep in mind, this could be changed. It could be simply that this has never been brought up, that they can easily change it or fix it by buying a $5 stamp and then using it over and over, and buying, maybe spending less than a quarter of a penny over all the sales by just stamping front on the bottom cover of these things, and many of the other devices that may need the exact same thing. Think about it. So you can tell I'm livid on that bit, because that's $30 that's out the window. Of course, I don't look at the bottom. It sits on your lap, so it's not a huge issue. But it's $30, and it's messed up permanently. And I had because you can't really remove it after you really place it. It's very, very hard to remove it and get it reset, because the adhesive is not meant to do that. It's permanently messed up, unless if I buy another one. But again, it's if anything messes up, I prefer it to be at the bottom. Let's put it that way. Now, I'm pretty sure everyone else is the same way. But as far as the second thing I'll mention, it's the part list. The part list is not existing, and I'm going to include with the part list is where things go. The part list is non-existing, so I don't even know if everything came in that's supposed to come in. And when you have to assemble stuff, especially with this cost, I don't care if it's a manufacturer, like if you buy a $100,000 piece of equipment in a manufacturing line that goes to a company, they expect a part list, even though it's unless it's a very, 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 very customized, like it only been made one time in history. That's might be the exception of the rule. So even in companies, they expect part lists. You even get part lists for a $25 grill. You get a part list for a 3D printer. You'll get a part list for most things. Why not this? And for those who don't know what part list is, it's basically what parts are supposed to come in. So that way you can just lay out everything and say you have everything, or you got to contact a company or go out and get whatever you need. And that's important. Now, with that, I'm going to add into there is there's nothing saying what goes where. They could easily said this is the part of this, and then numbered everything, and then numbered the sticks, because when you get down to the obvious things, the front plate, the back plate, the keyboard, the screen, obvious things like this, you open up the back, you dump it out, it's a bunch of sticks. Yes, it's cut out, but you have to use process of elimination to figure out where things go. It's a $140 device. Seriously, I mean, if you're buying it full price, it's $140. It's not going to take much to mark some numbers on there with a pen or something. Have someone just marking numbers, and then them having somewhere, even online, saying what goes where, or make a video like what was said on the back of the original packaging, and maybe they'll make one. It's something that's very, very needed for something like this, laptops and this caliber. Now let's talk about the good. Again, I want to emphasize that separation. The product itself is good, it's solid. Company, let's talk about customer service with the company, because you got to interface with them. They're actually pretty good. They get back to you very quickly. How this deal went down is basically I asked Toast, hey, I'd like to review your stuff. Can I have a discount in order to get a product and review it? They agreed and gave me the product code. I went on a different email, used my personal email, act as a customer, because basically that's what I am at this point. And then I went in, put in product code and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, I was basically like any other customer. And that's important to note, because the thing with some reviews is you don't get the interface as a original customer, like an actual someone who is buying the stuff itself. And with this, I found a pretty good experience. I was able to ask things, get a email back very quickly. I was able to figure out what's going on very quickly. They showed their timetables and everything, and when there are holidays and all that stuff. It'd been a little bit better if they sent on their email saying that they were going for a holiday. I had to go to their website on their homepage, and it said that they were going for the holiday, but you know, it is what it is, and maybe they can fix that with their automatic emails. But with that, I'll say that their customer support is above. It's definitely worthwhile. And as far as their product and assembling, besides the finding out where things go, it's actually very simple. What you need, and this is not what's included as far as what they say, and this is from my personal experience with doing composites and having a background in composites and aerospace and rockets, is you need to have rubbing alcohol, and you need to have cartoonist gloves if you can. And the reason why is these are lint-free gloves, and it keeps your oils away from the adhesives. If you can't have that, then at least get some medical gloves, and that'll work just as well. And just make sure there's no powder on the medical gloves, so you don't have to worry about that part. And that's just basically keep your oils away from them and keep lint and dirt away from the adhesives, because if you put the thing on a dirty surface, that's going to be trapped and that's going to mess with the adhesives. Same thing with the oils, and that's where your rubbing alcohol comes in. They do include 2 wipes, but this is an actual big job. For a phone, that might be enough, more than enough aspect, but for a laptop, that's definitely not enough. So just having a bottle of rubbing alcohol and wetting the wipes with the rubbing alcohol, you should be fine. And in fact, that's what I did. And you just rub it down, make sure all the oils is off. If there's any dirt, obviously rub it off, but you're just trying to get the oils off, and that's a way to easily get it off. And that way you can just pop it on there without worrying about the thing popping off or being weak. And this is part of my background, again, with composites and dealing with rockets, actual rockets that go in space, is one thing you could do to cause a better seal is use weights. You're probably not going to have random weights around your house, but you might have fishing weights. So with me, I got a bunch of fishing weights, and I use about 1/4 pound to a pound. You can use half pounds if you need, but just basically put a weight on the areas that you think that's going to be weak. If you don't think any given area is weak and you just want to be sure, put the weights on the corners, so 4 corners, in maybe one in the middle if you want, especially if you got the logo, but leave it there for about 2 to 3 hours, and this will help seal it. It just basically has constant pressure against the surface, so it helps the adhesive to seal it, so there's no chance of anything happening. That's just from my personal experience dealing with stuff of this on a massive scale, like even building airplanes, composite airplanes. You'll see that exact stuff happening, or to use weights and stuff like that. And keep in mind, you're flying around some of that stuff I made. So the other thing is rub down the areas, make sure nothing's popping, and you should be good. The color looks great. There's nothing you can do, or nothing you should do about the colors. The actual hardness of it's great. I wouldn't throw it, I wouldn't drop it or anything like that, but it is real wood, so treat it as such. The reason why this is important is, like real wood, you want to rub keys on it and stuff like that. But I mean, you could use that as a protection from scratches against your laptop. However, realistically, you want to keep that look. You're buying a $140 thing, or maybe a $70 thing, instead of a $12 sticker, because you want the look. You want the look and you want the feel, and that's good. I got wood watches for the same thing. So as far as that goes, this is a pretty good product. Check it out and ask questions. One thing I want to mention is, again, this does not cover up any holes where the fans are. So yeah, just point out again in case there's any questions on that. But check out their stuff and ask questions if you're going to buy it, and if you already have, and if you're actually using it, let me know what you think. Let me know if you ran into any problems setting it up, because besides that one problem, there wasn't really much else besides figuring out what goes where with process elimination. But beyond that, it really wasn't that bad. It's just basically unpeeling it, sticking it, and moving on. But yeah, like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you in the next video.